the Ukrainians seem to be pushing back against the Russian army, but we're also seeing the Russian army now being armed with Iranian drones, which seem to be having a devastating effect, and the level of war crime seems to be increasing. What's your sense of how the Russia-Ukraine war plays out through this year?
I mean, the smart money, I think, is on things continuing as they are in a rough stalemate. What is very clear to me is that the Ukrainians are not going to give up. They've gone all in on losing whatever they have to lose to win the war. They have so far rejected any notion of peace talks, in part because they feel like they're in a position of strength, they have momentum. So that's their side of things. On their end, they need Western supplies of weapons, more advanced weapons. Recently, they've just gotten a delivery of tanks from the UK. They've asked for more higher level artillery, stuff, rockets that reach further into Russian territory. That's the kind of stuff they want moving forward. On Russia's end, who knows? I mean, we're essentially talking about the mindset of one person and what he wants out of this. At some point, you've got to wonder that he thinks that he's gotten something that he can declare as a victory, that he can make seem as a victory. We don't know what that is exactly. We've begun to hear rumblings that the Russians might want to talk at some point, but this only works if both sides want to talk. So we need the Russians to need it as much as the Ukrainians do. We're not there yet.
We're also seeing NATO countries offer arms to Ukraine, which was so far off the table. Increasingly tanks being given, which earlier was seen as NATO being dragged more deep into the conflict, which NATO was trying to avoid. How high, according to you, is the probability of the conflict escalating this year?
It's fairly high. It's as high as it was even last year. I mean, you know, there's still the imminent risk of Russians using a tactical nuclear device, of them feeling like their backs to the wall in a certain part of territory that they've occupied. We know that they have chemical and biological weapons that they may choose to use, as they have, by the way, in places like Syria. So in a sense, nothing is really off the table. Putin doesn't want us to think otherwise because he wants to use those things as a deterrent. So there's a high degree of possibility of things escalating. And that, by the way, is the reason why the West isn't more involved than it is. The reason why the US doesn't formally have boots on the ground is exactly that reason. They want to prevent a larger escalation. That is Putin's trump card, in a way. He needs this to be as isolated as it possibly can be.